Hello, cozy detectives, and welcome to the Blanket Fort Files. I'm Larissa,
And I'm Joy.
and we're here to report on all things comfy and cozy. Well, hello.
Hi.
How have you been, Joy?
I have been good. It has been, I said this previously, but it's been snowy a lot where your girl has been fighting with some migraines, which is not super
Oh,
fun.
no.
I know. But it all the snow melted, which was wonderful. However, today we're supposed to get another 6 inches.
Oh, wow.
I know. I'm like, go away. So
Yeah.
I think it'll be okay. It's just like the swing in temperature that gets me. If it stays
hmm
cold or it stays warmer, I'm fine. But the barometric pressure just gets me.
Yeah, I haven't it hasn't been like migraine level headache yet,
Mhm.
but we've also been kind of just like up and down with
Oh
temperature
man.
spikes too, and that does tend to give me headaches also. So, I saw you got one of those ice cap
I
things.
did.
Have you tried it out yet?
I'm kind of grateful that I haven't tried it out yet.
That's
So
true.
I haven't actually had a I feel like the migraine's new and I haven't had one since I bought that. Since winter's come in, I have not used it. But we'll see. My head was hurting a little bit this morning. It's not hurting right now,
Oh,
but I
good.
definitely was starting to get a headache this morning. And I do have to go out to the grocery store. And it's very
Me
interesting.
too.
I know, I know. I've noticed that like once I leave like the bubble of my house and whatever barometric whatever's is going on in my house, like out into the world, that's when if the temperature's changing for me, I'll get a headache. So
Mm,
hoping that doesn't happen today, but if it does, I will update you next week with
yeah.
my ice cap. It
Yeah,
looks
I
kind of
know.
funny, but if it works, I don't care.
Yeah, it's like one of those things where you want to be able to try it just to see if it
Yeah.
works, but because trying it would mean that you have a migraine. So,
Yeah, agreed. How's it going in your world? Is it you said the temperature's pretty flippy floppy there too?
yeah, we had a lot of rain this week, and today's like super windy. So hopefully that doesn't pick up. Last time we recorded, we had power washers here, so we were on an uphill battle trying to avoid the noise. So things are a lot more quiet here today, luckily.
Yay, that's exciting. And then we'll talk about the 2% cozy at the end. But did you do anything fun this weekend?
um, my sister and I went to this little speakeasy near us. That was kind of fun. You had
Ooh.
to like figure out how to get inside.
Oh, so fun.
Yeah, and so they had kind of this like chill jazz playlist. And I know we were talking a little bit about this, but first they played part of the La La Land soundtrack.
I love that soundtrack.
Me too. It's one of my favorites, and it's just one of the little jazzy numbers. I think it's the track title is called Herman's Habit, and like within a couple seconds, I was like, "This is La La Land." And then like right after it, they played Soulful Strut, which if you don't know what that is, that's the like handshake song that Annie and Martin do in The Parent Trap.
That's so cute.
And I was like, "Do they know I'm here? Like this playlist was made for me."
Oh, so meant to be. That's so fun.
Yeah. So we'll definitely have to do a La La Land case file or like diving into movie soundtracks or something.
This is off topic, but have you gotten to go to LA and visit any of those locations from?
No, I've actually never
Mm.
been to LA before.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, fun. Oh, yeah, because that's where the WB studio is right there too
Yeah.
for the background lot for Gilmore Girls. But the one thing about La La Land that I will say, I mean, obviously it's like a very like romanticized version of old Hollywood, but in my mind, like while watching it in the theaters, when they pull up to, I think it's not the Guggenheim, that's in New York City.
Oh, the planetarium. I
Yes.
don't know what it's called, but yeah, I know what you're talking
Yeah.
about.
I've been there, but my brain can't remember what the name of it is right now. And they pull their car like all the way up. It's so funny because that is so not what happened. You like
Yeah.
park all the way up the hill and then
There's
you just
no
like
other
walk
cars
there.
around.
Yeah, there's no cars around. They pull directly up, like basically to the front door. I mean, it's
Yeah.
beautiful and it's so fun to like see Los Angeles from that viewpoint.
Oh,
But
yeah.
I just remember watching it at that and being like, that's hilarious. Like it's
That's
cute
not
because it's
true.
obviously like romanticized versions of things. So
Yeah.
I love that. I mean, spoiler, but they start floating at one point in that song. So it's like, okay. Or never
Yeah, we're
romanticized.
not super realistic. Yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking of, we're just gonna take a little La La Land
Yeah,
tangent,
let's do it.
so come with us. But I don't know if you saw any of this after the Oscars aired this year. So obviously Ryan Gosling was Ken, and he performed the "I'm Just Ken" song, and then Emma Stone won for I don't know if it was Best Actress or Supporting Actress, but she won one of the acting categories. And so people on like TikTok like clipped scenes from the Oscars with me and Sebastian's theme of like he became a successful musician, she became a successful
Oh,
actress, like
cute.
their characters, and I'm like over here crying like, oh, I'm still not
Oh.
over that ending.
Oh, I know. Not gonna lie, the first time I watched that, it kind of felt like the ending was like so different than what I had wanted it to be throughout
Yeah,
the
me
movie
too.
that I was like a little disappointed in it. But I saw it like 2 or 3 times in theaters. And then by the second or third time, I was like, okay, I feel like I get it right now. But the thing that breaks my heart is I feel like people also compare that a lot to Emma Stone herself and Andrew Garfield,
Oh
like the
yeah.
looks that they'll have sometimes at like award shows, and it's just like,
Yeah.
oh, oh my heart.
Yeah.
Oh,
Well, I don't necessarily want to spoil the movie because I know we said if it's been like 20 years, but
yeah.
inserting a little bit of spoilers, so jump ahead. We'll put like timestamps here,
Yeah.
but I think for me, like the same way, like I was kind of upset the first time I watched it. 'Cause you always want a happy ending,
Yeah.
but I like how I guess realistic
Yeah.
it was for especially like couples in Hollywood. Like it's really rare that they last. So I did like, while we said there's a lot of this movie that's romanticized and not true to life,
Hmm.
I do think at the core the relationship was very true to life.
Yeah. Like it was both sides of it for me. I appreciated that it didn't, I guess, end in like everything is a happy ending at all times, but then they still were their own happy endings, kind of in
Yeah,
and of
yeah,
themselves, just not together. But
right.
then,
They were so successful with their goals and ambitions.
yeah. But I guess on the other side, to like play devil's advocate on that, I think a reason that we go to the movies
Hmm.
is to see a potential of something that we could want, and especially like in like an old Hollywood scenario, like
That escapism.
yeah, like the holiday vibes of that, like the old Hollywood look and vibe and feel. It's like I want that happy ending to happen. So
Yeah.
it was very good. I feel like it was definitely very worth it. And I know that we were talking about as well the record. The I have the record of it. Did you end up
Yeah.
buying it?
I haven't yet,
Ooh.
but it's on like a wish list for sure.
Yes, I'm so excited for that. So, kind of transitioning into our Cozy Case files for this week, they are focused around British hobby TV shows. And that kind of also stems from the fact that we've both had the opportunity to visit England and London. Actually, don't know other parts of England. Have you been to just London, or have you gotten to explore out or?
Not a whole lot. So I've been twice. The first time we did a day trip out to Oxford and visited the
Ooh.
campus and everything. And that's very much because my background is working in higher education and college. And so I was like,
Yeah.
if there's a college to visit while I'm here, it's definitely Oxford.
I love that.
But other than that, we've kind of just stayed in the city both trips.
Yeah. But London is so big. There's so much to do there. Like
Yeah.
I want to say 2, maybe 3 times, but one of the times I went was with a school trip, so does that really count? No.
Yeah. That was definitely my first few Europe trips were with a big group, and I'm grateful for those
Oh,
experiences, but
absolutely.
there's something about kind of just either going on your own or with one or two people that you get to really do what you want to do.
Yes, and it feels so different to visit it more as an adult where you can kind of have your own like, do what you wanna do versus
Right.
here are the things that the class is going to do,
Yeah, like
and
prefixed agenda.
yeah, exactly, exactly. The one thing I haven't done that I've heard mixed reviews on, and I'm curious to see if you have done it. Have you done the London Eye?
Yes, we did that the first time. I think it's worth it. We did that first the first trip was very much more of like we're going to do more of the touristy things, and I'm like
Yeah.
they are touristy for a reason. I
Oh,
think like
absolutely.
we want to see that, but we did like a pass where they have like a list of like 20 different like tourist options, and you get to pick. I can't remember the exact number, but it's you pick like one set price, and then you get like expedited tickets to all of the things, so like you can kind of skip the line. and the London Eye was on there, so we didn't have to like really wait in line for it. And yeah, it was really fun. You got very nice views. It was funny though because we did that the same day that we did the Sky Garden. Did you ever do that?
No, you were telling me about that because there's a restaurant at the top or something, right?
Yes. Yes. So we did the restaurant the second trip, but the first trip we just did the like observation deck, but it's like an indoor garden at like the top of the skyscraper. And we ended up doing those the same day. So we're like, this is our day of views.
Yes, I think that's the other thing is while I will do things like I have done like the Empire State Building or like the Eiffel
Hmm.
Tower, I don't love heights.
Oh
And
no.
yeah, and I think the thing with those buildings is like one, it's like a building, but two, I can choose when I go up or down. But I feel
Yeah.
like in the Ferris wheel, I am in that pod and we are just gonna make this circle no matter what I want. So
Yeah. Are you with your fear of heights? And we're drifting away from coziness, talking about fears. But my sister kind of has a fear of heights. For her, though, it's like a specific, like she needs like a wall, like a glass or a wall or a gate, something to know like I'm secure and I'm not going to like tumble over. But if, like when we went to like the Sears Tower in Chicago, they have that where
mm,
you can walk out on the ledge kind of thing.
I would
And
not do
she
that.
was knees were shaken.
Yes, I would not do that. There is also, I believe it's the Space Needle or the CN Tower. One of them has a glass floor, and that is also not something I would like. There's just like children like laying on this glass floor, and to look down. That's the thing. It's the looking down and the not feeling that I can choose where I go. And I
Yeah.
think that's why I'm learning in this exact moment. I think that's why that like I don't like it's Ferris wheels, right? The certain
Yeah.
yeah. I always get those and what are the horses ones that go in the
Oh,
Ferris wheel?
merry-go-round?
Yes, something like that. Yeah, I always get those confused in my head.
Carousel. That's
Carousel,
like
that's what
a
it is.
the fair
Yeah,
terminology.
carousel. I don't I think it's because I can't choose and pulling Ryan Gosling into this for oh, that's such a famous movie and I can't think of what it's called right now. What's the one with him and Rachel McAdams? The
The
Notebook.
Notebook. Mhm.
Yes. So the Notebook when he's like hanging, no.
Oh, he, like, literally hangs from the Ferris wheel.
No, no, no. I would I would have freaked out.
Yeah.
So that is not my idea of a good time.
Yeah. What
But
was, your favorite, like, thingy or activity you did in London?
I feel like so I had the opportunity to go a couple years ago for New Year's Eve. Our
Ooh.
yeah, it was really really fun. Now, I wasn't quite sure nor were my companions quite sure where we were supposed to go or like where was like a cool place
Yeah.
to go.
Yeah.
So we did end up at the train station, but it was like a very like don't think American train station.
Oh,
Like
yeah, they're a lot nicer over there.
yeah.
When we went to Zurich, there was like little like grocery stores in the train
Oh,
station. We
cool.
would get dinner there. So yeah, it's a very different experience than
Yes.
here.
Yes, like full on like, maybe a little bit more the vibes of, like, a nice airport in that there's, like, restaurants and things like that
Yeah.
in the train stations. So we did go to one of those, which was really fun. We did a little champagne toast, and that was really, like, a
Cute.
nice memory. And I think also for me, just kind of walking around and getting
Yes.
in my mind's eye, getting lost, kind of almost like Harry Potter-esque, where, like, you turn a corner and you're like, "Oh, where are we?"
Yeah.
That is probably, like, a memory that I will cherish for a very long time just because wandering the streets and just showing up. I also love, pro tip, one of my favorite coffee shops ever is in just off of the Borough Market.
Mhm.
It's Monmouth or Modmouth. I'll figure out what it is and I'll put the link in the description of this. But it is wonderful and they're so quick. That was really fun.
Fun. That's
Would you
so
say
fun.
that? What was your favorite part of visiting London?
Yeah, I really like the Sky Garden, especially the second time when we did dinner because it was like a little fancier of a restaurant than we would normally go to. So it was kind of fun to be a
Fun.
little like bougie for the night.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I agree. Just kind of that walking around, and I definitely don't ever want to live in a big city, but I think there's something so fun about visiting them and just kind of, like you said, getting lost in your own way. And then this past trip, I think we kind of talked about this when we did the Bake with Me, but obviously we're going to have people listening that probably didn't
Yeah.
didn't watch that. But
We'll put that link too, just so you can watch that.
yeah, we should. Um, but the sort of like inspiration behind my Eating Gilmore project used to live in London. And so I got to meet up with him and have dinner
That's so
on the last trip. So that was really fun, just kind of getting to meet in person and connect that way.
Before we do jump into our case files, because our case files are very much so connected, but is there something on your like London bucket list for if you get to go back?
Yeah, I actually have like a whole little notes app, like London to do
Ooh,
list, bucket list, because we definitely want to go back for sure. And I don't know if you can still do this. And it's again, probably like for actual British people or Londoners, it's probably super cringe, but I think it'd be so fun. Speaking of trains, they have like an old train car where they've turned it into like a little tea shop.
cool.
So
Oh, I
that
love
just
that.
seems, yeah, that just seems kind of like just so cute and quaint and
Yeah.
cozy.
Yeah, and one of the bookshops that I would love to go to is Foyles. So if you
Ooh, I
haven't gone
haven't
to
heard of
Foyles,
that one.
I hadn't either until I got back, and I'm like, oh no,
That always happens.
ah man, that and I'd like to visit a castle. I think that would be really
Oh yeah, yeah, I agree. We speaking of bookshops, we had it like on our hopeful list for both times we went, but it's kind of a ways off in the city, so it was kind of out of the way. But it's called Word on the Water, and it's like a boat on the Thames that's like a
cool.
bookshop.
Oh, that's really cool. I like that a
Yeah,
lot. Oh, that's so fun. Does it float around or does it stay in that one spot?
I think it kind of stays in the one spot.
That's really cool. I love that.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm ready. And your cozy case file is something that I am not. I've watched maybe one or two episodes.
Okay.
I know one meme, and I will say what that is later.
I'm curious to know what it is.
But yes, tell us about your
Yeah.
cozy case file.
So I'm talking today about the Great British Bake Off, also known to Americans probably as the Great British Baking Show. So, fun fact of why we have a different term for it here: Bake Off is a copyrighted term with Pillsbury. So, we're not allowed to use Great British Bake Off. We have to call it Baking Show here.
Oh, good to know.
Yeah. So this is a British reality TV show, but I don't like using the word reality because, and to me, I'm always thinking of like Survivor, The Bachelor,
Yeah.
like these really like crazy, trashy, raunchy shows. And this is very much the opposite of that.
Yeah, these are both very cozy British shows.
Yes, we call them our British hobby shows because they both involve hobbies that we enjoy. But basically, the premise is there every season, or they call it series over there, is a group of amateur bakers compete every week in baking challenges, and they have to impress two judges with their baking skills. Every week, a contestant is eliminated, and then there is a winner declared from a final three. And so the Great British Baking Show, Bake Off, whichever you call it, first aired in 2010. So I don't think I realized just how old it is.
Yeah.
I think it took a few years to come over here for us to be able to watch it, which if you don't know, if you're an American listener, you can watch, I think, almost all of the seasons on Netflix. And I think they've aired some on PBS as well. Essentially, kind of how every episode is laid out every week is it takes place over the weekend, which is kind of why I like this because they are amateurs. And I feel like so many competition shows we have here in America, it's all professionals in whatever field that is. So I like, because I'm an amateur, so I'm like, oh, these are my people.
That's so fun. The whole show, like each of the episodes is a weekend or
Mm-hmm.
oh,
Yeah, so
cool.
they can keep their regular jobs if they work like regular weekday jobs.
Oh, wow. Oh, that's so sweet. I actually really love that. I didn't know that.
Yeah, yeah. So they just come, they like stay over the weekend, film, and then go back and practice for the next week, since they are amateurs, which I use amateur very loosely because these are like professional level bakers.
Yes, there's the one or two episodes I watch. I watched the ones. that were the Darby Girls. I don't know if you or
Hmm.
anybody has listened or watched that show before. So a few of the cast from that did, I guess, a series. I'm not sure
Well, they
exactly.
have like they have a charity one
Oh,
for celebrities, so if it might have been that one.
gotcha. It was that makes so much more sense to me now as well, how they could continue their jobs in acting and then go and do that. I just know that it's in a tent and it looks so quaint.
Yes. Yes. We'll dive in why I find it so cozy. And the tent is a big reason why, for sure.
Right?
Yeah, so it's over the weekend. So it's 2 days. So the first day, there's two challenges. The first one is a signature bake, which is kind of like a tried and true, usually like a classic or a staple that they make all the time. And then the second challenge is the technical. And this is kind of a more complex of a bake. And what is so fun about the technical is the bakers can't prepare for this one.
Oh.
So the other two, they're able to practice, when they go home, but they have no idea what the technical is going to be.
Oh, wow. So they find out that exact day, like when
Hmm.
the audience finds out?
Yeah,
Oh, wow.
basically. And they do get a recipe for it, but it's very limited. So it might be like make a creme pat, which is like creme pâtissier. I can't speak French, but it's a very fancy like cream. Um,
Oh.
so they'll just say make that, not like the steps to making that.
Mm.
And as like the weeks go on, they get less and less instructions for the technical.
Oh, wow.
And then the technical challenge is actually judged and ranked blindly. So you'll appreciate this because your love of gingham. Um, but they say bring your bakes to the gingham. So they have this big like gingham table at the front, and
Cute.
and they place their bakes. They have like their picture, but the judges can't see it, so it's like the
Oh.
back to them. So they place them on there, and then the judges come in and they taste all of them, so they don't know who baked what, and then they put them like in order from like worst to best.
Like they move the plates or they're just like voting like this is the best one. This is
Yeah, they'll essentially just like call them out, like so and so
Oh.
is 10, so and so is 9. Yeah, it's like
Oh.
oh
That's where the like I guess the more nerve-wracking part of that obviously would be because it'd be like, okay, I tried really hard on this.
yeah, and like we'll get into this part too, but like they're just all so nice. And even the judges, like they're really nice about it and they're like,
Yeah.
"We can tell you tried really hard."
Oh, that's so cute.
Yeah. So that's the first day. And then the second day is the third challenge, which is the showstopper bake, which is usually like an over the top kind of creation for a party or some sort of
Mm.
celebration. And almost every week there is a theme. So it might be like cake week or bread week.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah. And then at the end, they will pick the top baker and they get crowned star baker for the week. And it's really cute too because a lot of times they'll like call their family and they're like, guess what? I won star baker.
Oh my goodness, that's so sweet.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, and then they do pick someone to go home, so it is elimination based.
Mm.
And this is always hard too because they'll do like a little exit interview, and they're like trying not to cry, and you're just like, "I'm
Oh
sorry."
no. Oh no.
Yeah. But yeah, it's just like really sweet and homey and cozy. And like you mentioned, they do bake in a tent, so there's that unpredictability of the weather that comes into play sometimes.
Uh-huh.
And I don't know if this is intentional or if it just happens to be controversial every time, but somehow every single season, Chocolate Week is always the hottest weekend in the tent.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, it's like a lore of the show.
Yeah. And so like things are melting and it's always such a it's such a mess.
Oh no. Oh, wait, how
Yeah.
many contestants do they start with? Like how many bakers?
They usually, I want to say it's about like 12 to 14, I think, because
Oh
there's
wow.
usually about 10 episodes and they'll have a top three. And most seasons, there will be a week where no one goes home or they're like, everyone gets to stay.
Oh.
I know, which is always really nice. Sometimes it really comes down to they couldn't pick a bottom person, but sometimes, which I think is also kind of great about it, because it's spread out over the course of like 10 weeks. So if someone is sick or whatever and they can't participate, it's not grounds for like automatic elimination.
Oh, that's so nice. Yeah, because I can't
Yeah,
control if I'm sick.
exactly. Yeah. So if someone like can't participate that weekend or something, that's usually a no one goes home week.
Oh, that's so nice. Did they
Yeah.
ever say in the show where? Is it just like the English countryside somewhere?
Yeah, when I was doing some of my research, they had like a breakdown of like these seasons were filmed here, and but when you're watching it, you usually can't tell because they'll cut to like this beautiful like green countryside, and like it's in this like English garden, so it's always really cute and cozy.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh,
Yeah, yeah. So there are two hosts and two judges. So when it first aired, the original hosts were Mel and Sue, and I think they're kind of the fan favorites. The newer hosts tend to get a little bit more, as you like to use, hokey.
yeah.
And it's kind of gotten a little bit more like cheesy, and they do little bits. But I read this article or interview about Mel and Sue. If there was ever a contestant that like got frustrated or was upset and like crying on camera, they would actually, Mel and Sue would like go up next to the camera and start like sing a bunch of curse words so they couldn't use that footage of the person
Oh,
crying.
oh, that's so
Yeah, like
nice.
they were really protective of them. So I'm like, that's so sweet.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah.
This is where there's the difference between like we both live in America and it feels
Hmm.
very different than like an American reality show where they'd be
Yeah.
like, yes,
So
the drama. And this is like, nope,
yeah.
you may not be.
Yeah. That actually is kind of one of my why I find it cozy points is that the competitors are very supportive of each other. So each challenge is timed. And so if there's a baker that's struggling to finish and others have already completed theirs, they'll go and help their competitor to finish the challenge.
Oh, that's so nice. Is the tent the same size the entire time or did they change it? Because I'm just thinking 12 people in a tent versus 3 people in a tent.
Yeah, you usually like it stays about the same size, but I think it's more of like how spaced out they are.
Hmm, okay.
Because they have essentially like a workstation, so they'll have like a stove, oven, their proving drawer, a counter space, fridge, and a freezer. Which, speaking of freezers, there is, and this is so funny as like some because you don't know what I'm going to reference, but if people have listened, they know what I'm going to reference because while it doesn't ever really get controversial or dramatic, there is one moment of Bake Off which has gone down as like the most intense bit of drama in the Bake Off world.
Oh
So there
no.
is one season, and this is Baked Alaska Gate.
I don't know anything about this. Oh my goodness, I'm so
Oh,
excited.
I'm loving getting to tell you this. So they had for their showstopper, they had to make a baked Alaska, which do you know what that is?
Honestly, I don't think so.
Okay. Well, for our listeners, it is an ice cream based dish, but it's
Oh.
also because it's baked, so it's really tricky to make sure you don't melt it, but also you have to cook it. It's really
Yeah.
complicated. Which, side note, if you're keeping track of your bingo, I don't think we've had any yet this episode, but Suki makes a baked Alaska in the shape of Hawaii one episode.
Why don't I not remembering that? Where's that at?
It's like I think it's like season one or two. It's very early on. They're still in the Independence Inn.
Hmm.
And that's not touching that. But anyways, so they have to make these baked Alaskas. And again, they're in the tent, so it's outside. It's a very hot week. They're working with ice cream. And there is a contestant, Ian, and a contestant, I'm pretty sure her name was Diana. And so one of the freezers breaks. Like they each have their own freezer, and Diana's breaks. And so she's trying to find room in the freezers for hers. And it's been said and like revealed after the fact that this was only for like a minute, but from what we saw on like the cutting room floor, she took Ian's baked Alaska out of the freezer and put hers in. So his didn't set in time.
Ooh.
Yeah. And then he got so frustrated because usually they don't really ever get mad, but he got mad and just like threw his in the trash and just like
Oh.
basically tapped out, like, mine's completely melted. I don't want to compete. Just like threw it away.
Oh. Oh
Yeah.
no.
Yeah. That's literally like the peak drama of Bake Off.
Oh man, that is dramatic though.
Yeah. And then what was also sad too, so the next week Diana like left the competition, which like obviously didn't like she it was said the reason why was because she was sick. And obviously because like all of this is filmed before it's aired, but people think she left because of all of the drama.
So
But
did Ian go home that week?
mhm.
Oh.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah.
Eek. The only
So
one that I know of is I don't even know who it is. I don't know anything about it. But it's a guy that was like started baking, had a meltdown, bon appetit. That's all I know.
yeah, I can't remember who that was exactly, but that sounds about right. Because it with it being hot, and they have the outside temperature, but then they're in this tent and they have all their ovens,
Oh man.
so that gets pretty hot. And they, sometimes they won't know, especially in the technical, how long to bake something for. So they'll just like literally sit on the floor in front of their oven, watching their things bake for like an hour.
That is so sweet though. How is that so cute?
Yeah, yeah.
It's giving like a kid watching Saturday morning cartoons.
Yeah, so anytime, I have to, like, monitor baking, I'll, like, put on the, like, soundtrack for Bake Off, and I'm like,
Love it.
"I'm in the tent."
Oh, that's so sweet. I love it. Yes, we love a theme moment, you know? Just
Yeah,
go for it.
yeah,
Oh, I love
bringing
that.
everything back. Yeah, so we talked about Mel and Sue, and then the original judges were Paul Hollywood and Mary Berry, which can you have a better name for a baking judge than Mary Berry?
That is so perfect. I never knew her last name. That's hilarious.
Yeah. And so they're like these older, I guess, probably really well acclaimed bakers in Britain. Like, obviously, here in America, we had never heard of them before Bake Off. Um, but in 2017, Mary Berry, Mel and Sue, this is, I guess, is other controversy, and this is actual controversy, but they got moved networks. So they were originally on BBC One, and they got moved
Mm.
to Channel 4, which here in America, I don't really know what all that
What that means.
meant.
Yeah.
But Mary, Mel, and Sue all left because of that. So we got a new judge, and her name is Prue Leith. And she's, she's not Mary Berry, I'll give her that, but she's still very sweet. She is known for her more like colorful, eccentric clothes.
I feel like don't they look kind of similar too?
Yeah, they're
Okay.
both like older women. I
Short
think,
hair.
yeah,
Okay.
Mary Berry is definitely more of like your like cozy, cutesy grandma, and Prue is more of like your more eccentric,
Yeah.
fun, great aunt, essentially.
Gotcha. For another bingo card, that's more of like Lorelai's aunt versus
Yes.
her. I guess her grandma's not particularly cozy by any means, but
Yeah.
it's giving Lorelai's aunt.
Yeah. Yeah. I would say if you had to compare, not that Mary is strict, but I would say it would be like comparing Emily and Lorelai, where
Hmm.
Emily is more Mary, more like proper, and then Lorelai and Prue are a little bit more fun.
More quirky. Cool.
Yeah. Why I find the Bake Off so cozy, I've mentioned a couple things. Obviously, it being in the countryside, and they'll have these little nature shots sometimes. And the music is really fun. We recently picked out our theme song for our podcast,
Yay.
and I kind of find them to be kind of similar vibes. They're very just like happy, jaunty, cozy.
Yeah.
And then again, just how supportive the competitors are with each other. Um, we don't get that in our competition shows here for sure. But one more thing before we wrap up, I have it with me. So if we end up doing video, y'all can see this, but it's my little apron from when I did the Great British Bake Off experience in London.
Cute. Oh, I love
Yeah.
it. Did you get to bake anything at that experience or you
Yeah,
what?
yeah. So it was kind of a recreation of the tent. So it's like a
Mm.
similar setup with the different stations. And we baked little cakes. And it was around Christmas time. So we did little Christmas characters.
Oh my goodness, that's so cute.
So
Also,
that was
if
fun.
if you're on audio, that you want to describe your apron?
Yeah, it is kind of a teal color, and there's a bunch of like rolling pins and whisks, and it says the Big Bake on it. So it kind of feels very Bake Off. It has a lot of like pastels in their branding, so it kind of fits with that.
Oh, I love that. This is so funny because I do want to hear more about your cozies, but once we get to my, it's so I'm loving getting to like learn each other also through our like hobbies and things like that
Yeah.
because I just realized my aesthetic is like wood and antiques, and yours is like pastels and baking, and I'm like, that is so us.
Yeah, these definitely very aligned with us to our core.
I know, so true. Is there any more of your like cozy favorites? I don't want to cut you off at all.
Oh no, that was basically all I had on the Great British Bake Off. So if you do go to London and you are a fan, I do recommend doing the experience because it was a lot of fun.
I love that. Did you get to take it with you, or was it like eat the cake here?
Yeah, it was eat the cake here. So I'm sure if you didn't finish it, like you could take it back, but the hotel we were staying at didn't have a fridge, so we were like, we're gonna finish this. But it was a pretty small one. It wasn't like a massive. It was like a little mini
Oh,
like
I love
personal
that.
cake. Yeah,
I love that. Oh, that's so sweet. I didn't even know that existed. Was that in like London's, like downtown London somewhere?
yeah. They have a couple of different locations.
Hmm.
So it wasn't like in like central London. Like we had to take a tube quite a few stops away, but it was really accessible and easy to navigate to.
Oh, that's amazing. I'm so glad they did
Yeah,
that. That is so
yeah. It
cool.
was a lot of fun.
Yay, happy case file.
All right, let's hear about yours.
Okay, I'm really excited about this. This is not a particularly new to me show, but it started in 2017. And I believe in 2017 or 2018, about that time, they had it on Netflix. I was
Okay.
trying very hard for American listeners to find a location where we could watch it because basically what I had to do was buy the British DVD set. I
Oh
did
wow.
series slash seasons 1 through 4, and I have that, which I'll show in a second. But I had to import that and then get a DVD player that I then like converted to British. It was very, very convoluted. And the only place that I could find it, there are some full episodes on YouTube because I was trying to find the DVDs on Amazon Prime and I couldn't. So maybe it is now. I feel like it's one of those things where like it just keeps going in and out, just
Yeah, it's
depending
hard
on,
to find.
right? So if it is in the United States, definitely go do that.
Hopefully.
Yes, hopefully.
Because now
But
you're gonna tell me all about it, and I'm gonna want to watch it.
I know. Okay, honestly, I love it. It makes me so happy. And I feel like I haven't said the name yet. So the name is The Repair Shop.
Super cute.
So basically, what this is, I'm going to show the DVD to Larissa. So
Oh,
it's series
love
1 through 4, and it's very like a cozy, but also so the on the box set itself, it has Jay Blades, who is he's a furniture restorer, but he's also like the foreman. The background of the show is that it's a British show started in 2017. Basically, what it is families bring their a little like worse for wear 100+ year old, or maybe like grandma had this, and what they do is they bring family heirlooms to this like little barn, and it is a thatched roof barn, so it is very
Ooh,
quaint. It's in the English countryside. I looked it up and I believe it's in West Sussex, England is
okay.
where this is meant to be, or it is, but I don't know where. But it's like a little barn, and then they also have an outdoor area as well of like the metalsmith and things like that will work out there, for like welding and things like that. But
Mhm.
families will bring their family heirlooms, and then there is a large list of different artisans and very like skilled individuals in their specific area that will then repair their family
Ooh,
heirlooms.
okay.
So a few of the like I guess quote unquote cast is Jay Blades, who is on the box set series 1 through 4. So he's a furniture restorer, but I think he more so is like the foreman slash kind of host, where he will
Mhm.
like go to each individual and just see how they're doing on the projects. There's typically 3 to 4 items being repaired in the repair shop at any time. And
Mhm.
sometimes that would include somebody from outside, meaning like they have I'm trying to remember what his name is. I don't have it off the top of my head. Oh, Dominic. Haha, I got it. Dominic is outside sometimes like welding something or something like
Okay,
that. So it's
yeah.
kind of throughout. So what it gives the vibe of is you walked up upon like, because there's a driveway and everything, like you happen to walk
Oh,
up and see this group of individuals that are very skilled in their areas, and it feels like some of them are kind of more like dying arts type of areas, and then they're
yeah.
bringing these family heirlooms to their former glory. And
Oh,
it's
like breathing life into it.
yes, absolutely. So,
Yeah.
just a list. I have a few list of a few of like the main, I guess, quote unquote characters, but really they're just the
Mhm.
artisans that they have week to week. There is Kristen Ramsey. She's the ceramics conservator. So basically, she can do things like another bingo card is like Babette's gnomes. Like if Babette's gnome was like 100 plus years old, like she has
Yeah.
literally taken a gnome and like repaired it, which is
Cute.
so sweet. She can repaint it. She can like fix all of the different like ceramic elements, and they just recreate these items for
Yeah.
families. There's also Stephen Fletcher. I think they typically call him Steve, but he's a clock restorer. So he can
Oh, okay.
take apart any clock and basically put it back together, from a watch
Wow.
to like a family cuckoo clock. He's done a lot of things like that. Will
Cool.
is one of my favorites.
Aw,
I mean, you're not supposed to have favorite children, but he might be one of my
we do.
favorites, right? He's the I would say he's more so like the main carpenter. Like, and it's really fun too to see each family's history of the item. So
Yeah.
like this was her dad's and he had it on this ship and he had written it, and now she wants to be a writer, so she would love to write at this writing desk. So then she brings that in, and I believe
Aw.
from doing the research, I don't think any of the families, correct me if I am incorrect in the comments, but I don't believe any of the families pay, which I actually
Oh,
really
wow.
right? I love that. It's
Yeah.
just something that like,
They're
obviously, we're
doing for
watching it,
good.
but yeah, they're doing it to, like, bring life back into these items for these families and, like, future
Yeah.
generations. So
I
that just
love
makes my
that.
heart so happy. Um,
Yeah.
there's Amanda and Julie, who are known as the Bear Ladies. It's so
Oh,
cute.
cute.
So, like, if you have, like, an old teddy bear, like, that's,
Yeah.
like, filled with different things, like, they've taken teddy bears apart and it's, like, straw inside, or it's things like that, like,
Yeah.
very old teddy bears or, like, little beloved dolls. In an episode, so another thing that I think about this is so cozy, is that they also will have I think British Bake Off, you were saying, has this as well, but they'll have, like, specials that are, like, the Christmas special.
Yeah, yeah. I think I had that in my notes, but I didn't. But yeah, they do little like mini like 4 episode Christmas competitions.
Yes, yes. And I actually kind of like, even though this is, I guess, like reality TV, like it's so kind of really sweet to see them try to be like create the drama, but it's like
Yeah.
the family is coming in 2 hours. Will they get the ceramic
The
done?
timeline,
Yeah.
deadline. I
Like,
love that.
yeah, like there's never really any bickering or anything like that. Like even in the Christmas specials, they'll do like in season or series one, it made me tear up at the very end because
Aw.
they do like a little gift exchange. Like they do a little I can't like when you like change out names.
Mhm.
So they do that and they give
Or
like
like a
a gift.
Secret Santa.
Yeah, Secret Santa. They do a Secret Santa and they exchange gifts, and it's just really sweet to see them all open their
Aw.
gifts at the end and they're all standing in. So that very similarly but different vibes to the Great British Bake Off. They have all their little like sections in the workshop.
Okay.
So there's like everybody has their little areas and little desks, and it's kind of fun too because sometimes it's like my own game with myself. I don't know if everybody else does this when they watch, but if we're like looking at Steve do a clock repair, I'm like,
Mhm.
ooh, what's Will doing in the back? I haven't seen him do that yet. And then there'll be like a next episode that you'll like
Yeah.
see him like do whatever project that he happens to be working on.
Oh, fun.
So
So
that's
like a
really
kind of like a sneak peek.
yes, that's how it feels. I don't know if it's meant to
Cute.
be that, but I think of it as that.
That's fun. I'm glad that you mentioned that they have like specific ones for toys because when you were explaining the whole premise, sometimes on TikTok I get this creator and she does that. Like she'll have people like mail in like old, really loved stuffed animals and she'll do like a video of like bringing it back to life, like washing it and restuffing it and sewing it. And it's just like they look like a brand new toy when she's
Yes.
done with them. So I love that they have that specifically for this show too.
Yes, yes, there's so many. So there's like a firefighter historian. He's done like
Oh,
old
wow.
firefighter like metal caps. There's a camera restorer, a jukebox restorer, a bookbinder, a
Aw.
bagpipe restorer, which I think is so sweet.
It's So British.
And then obviously like leather goods, upholstery,
Yeah.
there it's just wild to see because it I guess it doesn't specifically feel like a lost art if you are specialized in that area, but like I don't off the top of my head know how to restore an old painting or how to like do that justice. And it is
Yeah.
interesting to see. I feel like we see it a lot with the ceramics restorer, how families have like tried to restore
Oh, yeah.
themselves. Yeah. Like they'll be taking it apart and be like, ah, I can see that people were trying to fix this earlier.
Oh,
So
no.
it's really
Yeah.
sweet.
I love that. So, when they bring it in, is it like where they have like consultations with the family, or is it just like a completely like big reveal surprise? They don't know what's coming.
Yes. So the families will bring the items. Sometimes it'll be something where like, we don't want mom to know, but we want this for her like 85th birthday to have this
Oh,
restored for her. It's really
yeah.
sweet. So somebody from the family will bring in the item and then Jay will stand at like a different table with whoever the restorer is going to be for that project and kind of talk it through with that family, get the history of the item, let them and kind of ask them as well to a certain extent, like, is this something you want restored to the best of its ability to its former glory? Are there certain items or elements, like if like you're like just as a random example, like if your dad had carved something into this wood, I'm guessing that's not
Mhm.
the piece that you want to be repaired. So
Yeah.
they do it. They're very good at like the justice of the item and having it
Yeah.
be just beautifully restored. Like they are
Yeah.
very good craftsmen. So that's what happens, and then the family leaves the item, and then after a certain number of days, hours, whatever it ends up being, either the family will come back and they'll come back to that same table, and Jay, and sometimes it's the artisan that repaired it, sometimes it's just Jay, sometimes it's somebody else that will end up presenting the item to the family. So sometimes
Mhm.
it's at that table, but sometimes, which is also really sweet, it'll either be the family and we're kind of watching as the audience through the camera, or they will take the item to the family's house, which is also really
Mm,
cute. So then you get to
yeah.
like see a little bit more of England. You get to see into their lives a little bit in really sweet ways. And then also see like sometimes it really makes you tear up seeing
Mm,
like a
yeah.
grandmother from 1939 get to see the restoration of her doll that she took with her when like in England sirens were happening. Like
Yeah, all the bombing.
yeah,
Oh, that's so special.
right. It's really sweet to see everybody kind of go back to the era of the moment when they had that item originally, or like get to like if it was your grandmother's clock and she's happens to no longer be here, it's like it's just really sweet
Super
to see those.
sentimental.
Yes, very sentimental seeing those moments restored. I love it because obviously of the setting, of like just the plot in general of getting to do that. I also am very interested in like I love antiques. I love looking for older items. I love the idea of the history of items. I have actually never seen an episode with that bookbinder, but I would love to see
Yeah,
that just to see like how to
that's so cool.
right, like repair a book and like exactly what that looks like. That's always just been something that's very interesting to me because I love
Mhm.
like rescuing quote unquote like older books from
Right.
like the thrift store and things like that. Um, so it's really really fun to just jump into this world, and there is honestly like no drama. Like the only type of drama will be like I can't find this spring for this clock. Oh wait, I just found it. Like
Right, yeah.
it's really wholesome, which I
Mhm.
love. And oh, another episode that I love is they repair a old Louis Vuitton like hard leather
Oh,
suitcase,
wow.
like Louis
Yeah.
Vuitton worked on style, like
Oh my
just
gosh.
the history of these items that I feel like
Mhm.
outside of this context we would not get a chance to see, even just like
Mhm.
exist, is really fun. And the Christmas episodes. I haven't seen all of the series. They are up through 12, I believe, was in
Okay.
2023. And
Mhm.
13, I believe, is set to start in 2024. Like we're
Ooh.
recording this podcast in 2024. So I'm interested to see what that becomes. And it's really nice because a lot of the original cast, it were cast quote unquote, like the artisans are still there.
Mhm. Oh,
So
cool.
I believe everybody that I have mentioned as the original cast is still part of the show,
Oh, I love that.
right? There's some new people added in for sure. And I feel like at certain parts, like the leather, I don't remember her name off the top of my head, but the leather worker, I think she kind of ends up being like quote unquote a main character for a season or two or things like that.
Mhm.
But as far as I can tell, And I actually don't even really want you to correct me if this is not true. I think everybody is just happy living their little lives
I love
and
it.
being in the barn and just doing all of that. So,
Yeah, I kind of like what you said of these aren't, crafts that we see very often now, and almost just the idea of craftsmanship into items isn't super common anymore either. Like everything with fast fashion, everything is mass marketed or mass produced. And so I think it's really special that they're restoring these items so that they can have, another life, two lives or centuries after, and still be part of the family.
yeah, absolutely. And it's things too where like if you are looking through an accordion to slowly move one metal item, it's just it is wild to see how skilled they are in these areas where they can bring like a cuckoo clock cuckooing or whatever the word is like how it originally sounded because every time,
Hmm.
and this is like just my own drama in my own head, I'm like, are the people that they're making this for going to be like, that doesn't exactly sound like it's supposed to? But
Right.
no, never. They're always like,
Every
wow, that's
time.
exactly how I remember. And I'm like, how do you even repair a cuckoo? Like, I don't know. It's
How do you make
wild,
it cuckoo?
right? It is
That's
so
so
cool.
nice. I love that.
If you have the opportunity to watch either of these shows, also after this, let us know over
Yeah,
at Like It For Files on Instagram because we would love to see what your favorite episodes are or who your favorite people are from it or your favorite series slash seasons of them.
definitely. And like you said, it's so funny hearing a little bit more about this show, how they line up with us so well. Like I'm the baker, I did the baking show, you love thrifting, you did the repair show.
Yeah.
Um, One though, this kind of reminded me, and before we sat down, I was like, oh, I already have some runner up to my British hobby shows. So if we
Mm.
want to do this theme again, but one is called the Great British Pottery Throwdown. Have you ever watched that one?
No, I feel like I would love that.
Yes, it's that one is on HBO. So if you don't have it, you'll have to
Mm.
get like a trial. They think they have 4 series up for that one. It's very similar to Bake Off, where it's like a week to week competition, but it's amateur potters and they make different pottery and ceramics every week.
I love
Like one, it's towards the end, every series they do a toilet.
like they make a toilet?
Yes, and they do like a flush test, not obviously with waste, but they
Whoa.
flush it and make sure the water goes through and there's not leaks and stuff. So it's like
That's
advanced
intense.
stuff. But that one I really like. And then this one is not British, but same kind of low stakes, cutesy hobby. We just finished the most recent season last night. This one's on Netflix. It's called Blown Away, and it's a glass blowing. Have
I
you watched
have
that
seen
one?
that one,
Oh,
yes.
so good.
I love things like that too because it's just such a wildly like I know skills are called skills for a specific reason, but watching it as somebody that doesn't have that skill or like hasn't put
Yes.
in the time to like cultivate that skill, seeing such amazing craftsmen is just it is wild seeing what they can do. Like I would just
Yeah.
burn myself. That would be the whole I'd be a blob. It would just be a glob for me of like glass. I'd be like, oh well, here we
Yeah.
go. There's a paperweight.
I'm always paperweight. I'm always like, it'll be, yeah, it's even just being in the room, I'm like, oh, I'd be sweating and hot. But
Mm,
they make some, it just also just blows my mind. Like, how are you able to take glass and shape it and sculpt it? Like, it's hard, but you make it hot. So it blows my mind,
that
all of
is
that,
wild. Also,
definitely.
like, who was the first person to think, I bet if I heated this up, I
And
could like
blew air
weeks
into
into it.
it.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly, exactly. Oh, I love that.
Love that. Anything else of the repair shop you want to share with all of us?
I think those are the main cozy items that I have from it. I think in each episode, I'm always finding something that's cozy or things where I'm like, ooh, I wonder if I get this old thing, could I repair that? But for me, I feel like any of the skills from that I would dare to try would be like small bits of upholstery or like
Oh,
bits of like refurnishing. I've always wanted to reupholster like these 2 chairs that I have.
mhm.
Now, I don't know if I have I, I think maybe I'm a little bit too of a perfectionist to do that. My 2% of creating those pillowcases from either last week or the week before, I spent an exorbitant amount of time doing that.
Aw.
So putting that onto something I would sit on and would be in my living room, I don't know, but it is just so amazing to see. I've also seen them cane furniture, like when it's like
Ooh.
woven, and I'm like,
Mhm.
wow, that is amazing. That is so fun. And also, how do you find that? I don't know how you would find like recaning things, but
Right, like, for some of these, I'm like, "How did you get into this? Is it like a family trade that you
Mhm,
just got passed down the knowledge? Like, do you
mhm.
go to leather working school? Like, how
I
do you
know.
become these?"
It is so fun. Okay, so bringing it into things that we can do in our lives, our 2%. I'm
Yes.
2% cozier. What is your 2% cozier from this past week?
So for me, my 2%, I tried out a new little home goods. It's not actually the shop Home Goods, but they they sell home goods there. And it's just opened up, I want to say in the last couple of weeks, and loved browsing. Kind of reminded me of your case file for that first week with just like the cozy home decor and things like
Yeah.
that. And so if you're watching this, I do have it to share this time, but I got this little floral teacup and
It's so
saucer,
pretty.
and it has a little spoon with a flower on
Oh,
it.
I love that. I like that it has a
Yeah.
little lid too. It's this glass see-through and then it's got little are those roses?
Hmm.
Oh, that's so pretty. Speaking of
Yeah.
glass, like how do you do that?
Right, right. And this, I think, episode will come out since I share it, but you might see it on an Eating Gilmore Encore dish
Ooh.
very soon.
Yay! So exciting.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that. Did you get any other items from that home store or were you able to
Um,
restrain yourself?
yeah, that was kind of, I needed to just do like a one and done. Oh, I did also get this linen spray because I'm
Oh.
very much in like a linen spray, room spray era. Like I just want
Ooh.
everything to smell good all the time. And the scent was a beach linen, I believe.
Ooh,
So,
I love that. You can't where am I? Oh, I was gonna turn my candle warmer on, but then I realized I
oh
had my
yeah.
plug full. But yes, I love candle warmers and things like that too. Those are all
Hmm.
love it. So fun.
Yeah.
Oh,
What about
yay!
you?
My 2%, which I will not do every time, but I have even though I am if you're watching on the video, I'm wearing a sweater. I am wanting it to be warmer so badly that I painted my nails like a really fun blue shimmery color,
Ooh, I
and
love
I
that.
bought 3 types. So, they're
Ooh.
the Insta-Dry Sally Hansen.
Oh, I love
I like
those.
them because they are just so quick to dry.
Yes.
Not
I'm
that
always smudging. I hate painting my nails because I'm always like,
yes.
I feel like I have to sit there for like 2 hours before I can do
Yes.
anything. But with those, it doesn't seem to take as long.
No, not at all, and not sponsored, but I just like them. But the thing that's the tricky bit about the 2% is giving myself the time to kind of allow for certain things like that because I've also noticed
Hmm.
if I don't do a base coat or a top coat, and the biggest tip of the nail game is to wrap your nail, meaning like take your nail polish over the top of your nail. Like I don't know how to
Oh.
describe that really. I guess like the edge of your nail that faces the world. I
Hmm.
don't know. Hard to describe that. But doing that with your color, your base coat, and your top color, because that's the
Hmm.
area that first starts to go with nails. And if you do that
Mm.
and re adding a top coat after a few days, potentially, like if you're starting to see like it's looking a little dull, adding a second top coat will help extend the life of your home manicure. But I have 3
Ooh.
colors. And if you're wanting to look them up or be twinsies, I'll read them aloud to you. So there's the Insta Dry, or they are the Insta Dry Luxe Finish. The one that I'm currently wearing is Gloss C. LOL.
Ooh.
It's like
Okay.
a shimmery blue, almost
Oh, that's so
looks
pretty.
right. I can't know if you, or I don't know if you can
It's
see.
kind of like iridescent a little
Yes,
bit.
that's the word. It gives very vibes of
Oh, Annie and Hallie, because
yes,
they do have the in the poker game, the nail polish. Yes.
yes. It
It's like
gives
a purpley kind of.
yes, it gives kind of
Yeah.
vibes of that in our next one, which is Lavish Lilac.
Ooh, that's
Right?
so pretty. I
It's
love
another
that.
shimmery vibes one, and then I did get a matte color, which is a more bright purple, which is Traveling Light.
Cute.
Right?
Oh, that's really pretty.
So
I
I'm
like
just
all of
really
those.
right? I'm just really wanting the summer, spring, more colors vibes, even though I'm wearing dark red. But I felt like a jumper. was perfect for talking about British shows. So I wore that.
There you
But
go.
and plus
Yeah.
it's going to snow outside. But my nails are going to be these for the
I
foreseeable
love
future.
that. Yeah, very good like spring Easter pastels.
Yes. Yes, very much so. I just really wanted to do something and give myself just that time and just
Yeah,
watch my show, do my nails,
exactly.
exhale for a second. So that was my 2% cozier from this week. I have already repainted my nails twice because I just am pretty hard on my nails. And
Yeah, me too.
I did gel or I did dip before this.
Mhm.
And oof, taking dip
Oh, yeah.
off at home by yourself. Oh my,
Oh, yeah, I've
would
done
not
that.
advise. 0 out of 10.
No.
So,
Um, I've noticed too, I started because especially in the winter, I don't know if you ever get this, but my nails, especially at that tip
yes.
part you were talking about, get kind of flaky.
Yes.
And so I've started taking biotin supplements,
Ooh.
and that has really helped keep them from not flaking. Like if I skip a couple days, I can tell because they're already like starting to
Mm.
chip and flake and stuff. So
Yes,
that
that's
might
also
help
why I
too.
paint my nails a lot during the winter, is
Hmm.
also just to add that extra couple layers that I
Strength,
feel like
yeah.
defends them against the world or something.
Yeah.
But yes.
Cute. I love
Yay!
that. Yay. 2%.
2%.
Love that.
Thank you so much for listening. You can find us on Instagram at Blanket Fort Files Pod, and be sure to follow us wherever you listen to your podcasts. We'd appreciate your feedback, so leave us a review and join us next week in the Blanket Fort, where we'll discuss the coziness of two of our favorite time travel movies.